Tom stood near Gate 37 at JFK Airport, clutching his daughter Lily's hand and a worn-out stuffed bear she refused to travel without. The airport buzzed with the noise of delays, boarding calls, and impatient travelers. His eyes were tired, his hoodie wrinkled, and his backpack stuffed with snacks and coloring books to keep Lily busy on the long flight to Los Angeles. He was a single father doing his best, flying back after visiting his late wife's parents. When the airline staff called his name, he was surprised. They had overbooked his economy seat, but were offering him a complimentary upgrade to first class. It felt like a small miracle. Tom glanced down at Lily, her eyes lighting up when she heard the words, "first class." But before he could smile back, his gaze caught sight of a woman nearby, young, clearly overwhelmed, trying to wrangle two fussy toddlers who wouldn't sit still. One twin wailed as her juice box leaked onto the terminal floor, and the mother's arms were trembling from bags and baby bottles. She looked around desperately, her eyes briefly locking with Tom's. In that moment, something shifted. Tom looked at his ticket, then back at the struggling mom, then to his daughter. Lily tilted her head curiously. Tom gave the gate agent a small, tired smile and said softly, "She needs it more than me." Without another word, he handed over the golden upgrade and returned to his original spot in the crowd, gently squeezing Lily's hand. He didn't know the woman. He didn't ask for thanks. He simply saw someone drowning and chose to throw her a lifeline. And in doing so, he unknowingly set something extraordinary into motion. Tom settled into his cramped economy seat, letting Lily curl up on his lap, her tiny head resting against his chest. Around them, passengers shuffled bags into overhead compartments and adjusted their armrests, the usual chaos of a fully booked flight. Tom didn't mind. He pulled out Lily's favorite storybook and began reading in a low, calming voice as she snuggled closer, unaware of the sacrifice her father had just made. Meanwhile, at the front of the plane, the young mother gently buckled her twin girls into the wide, plush seats of first class. The chaos and panic she felt at the gate began to melt away as the girls finally relaxed, giggling quietly over a packet of crackers handed to them by a flight attendant. The mother's shoulders dropped for the first time all day. A stewardess leaned down and said with a warm smile, "You know, someone gave up their first-class seat so you and your girls could sit together." The mother froze mid-motion, stunned. "Someone gave up this seat?" The attendant nodded. "Didn't ask for anything. Just said you needed it more." The woman turned in her seat, peering down the aisle toward economy, trying to spot the mystery passenger. Rows of tired travelers looked back at her unknowingly. Her eyes scanned each face, searching. Her voice lowered to a whisper, more to herself than anyone else. "Who would do that, without even knowing me?" She stared down at her daughters, then out the window, a soft lump rising in her throat. She didn't know his name. She didn't see his face. But that simple act, quiet and unseen, planted a seed in her heart. One she would never forget. Cruising high above the clouds, the cabin lights dimmed and the hum of the engines created a quiet lull. The twin girls were finally asleep, their cheeks flushed and peaceful. The mother, now breathing easier, sipped a warm tea as she chatted with a couple of flight attendants in the galley at the front of the first-class cabin. They laughed lightly about parenting struggles and travel chaos, the tension from earlier fading into soft smiles. One of the attendants, trying to lighten the mood, joked, "Your airline sure attracts some angels." The mother blinked. "My airline?" The attendant chuckled. "Just saying. Whoever gave up their seat for you and the girls, that was a rare kind of kindness. We don't see that every day." The mother paused, her cup halfway to her lips. The words hit her differently this time. Her brow furrowed, gears turning in her mind. She hadn't even asked who had done it. She'd been too overwhelmed. But now, she needed to know. "Wait," she said, setting the cup down. "The man who gave up his seat, what's his name?" A nearby pilot, overhearing the conversation, looked up from his tablet and replied casually, "Tom Carter. He's traveling with a little girl." Seemed like a single dad. The mother went still. Her eyes widened. "Tom Carter," she repeated under her breath. Her mind raced, pieces snapping together faster than she could speak. She stood abruptly, her heart pounding. "Find him," she said, her voice firm but emotional. "Please. I need to speak to him. Right now." The crew exchanged curious glances as one nodded and moved toward the economy cabin. Something told her this wasn't just an act of kindness, it was fate. The plane touched down smoothly at LAX, and the familiar ding of the seatbelt sign brought the usual shuffle of passengers reaching for bags and stretching stiff legs. Tom gently lifted Lily, who had dozed off in his arms, and began gathering their belongings. He was just another tired dad trying to make it through another travel day. As he stepped into the gate area, still rubbing sleep from Lily's eyes, he noticed something unusual: several airline staff standing just past the jet bridge, and beside them, the mother from earlier, holding her twins' hands. Her eyes were locked on him. She approached slowly, her expression full of emotion. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "You gave up your seat, and didn't even ask for anything. That kind of heart can't go unnoticed." Tom looked surprised, a little embarrassed. He gave a modest smile and shrugged. "Just did what any dad would," he replied softly, adjusting Lily on his hip. The woman knelt down beside Lily, smiling warmly. "Your dad's a hero, you know that." Lily looked at her, then up at Tom with sleepy curiosity. Standing again, the woman turned to him fully, eyes glassy. "I'm not just a mother," she said. "I'm also the CEO of SkyWest Airlines. And I want to give something back to you." Tom blinked in disbelief, unsure if he heard her right. The crew behind her nodded with proud smiles. "You showed the kind of kindness we need more of in this world," she continued. "So from now on, you and your daughter will never fly economy again. And that's just the beginning." The terminal buzz faded for a moment as the truth settled in. Tom hadn't just given up a seat, he had changed a life. And now, his was about to change too. Weeks later, Tom and Lily returned to the airport, this time not as anonymous passengers, but as honored guests. A sleek black car met them on the tarmac, and they were personally escorted to the first-class cabin of a SkyWest flight bound for Salt Lake City, where the airline's headquarters awaited. Lily wore a sparkly dress, clinging to her dad's hand with excitement. Tom was still adjusting to all the attention, more comfortable blending into the background than standing in any spotlight. But today was different. At the airline's main office, a crowd had gathered: employees, press, and families. A large banner read, "Celebrating Kindness, Honoring Tom Carter." At the front of the room stood the CEO, the same mother whose life Tom had unknowingly touched. She took the podium, her voice strong with emotion. "We live in a world that moves fast and often forgets to slow down for others. But one man reminded us that true kindness still exists." She turned to Tom and smiled. "That's why we're launching the Tom Carter Scholarship, to support single parents flying with children, so they never feel alone in the skies." The audience applauded, some dabbing at their eyes. But there was more. She stepped closer to Tom. "And we want you to join us, lead our new customer compassion program. Because the heart you showed, is the heart we want to share." Tom was speechless. Lily wrapped her arms around his waist, eyes wide with pride. As he hugged her tightly, he leaned down and whispered, "Sometimes the smallest seat can make the biggest difference." The crowd erupted in applause. The twins ran up to hug him, giggling. Their mother stood back, smiling through tears. "Because kindness," she said softly, "even at 35,000 feet, always finds its way back." In a world often rushed and distracted, one father's quiet act of compassion reminded everyone that kindness still matters. Tom Carter didn't give up his first-class seat for praise or reward. He did it because he saw someone in need and chose to help. What he never expected was that this simple gesture would change the course of his and his daughter's lives forever. From a crowded terminal to a seat of honor, Tom's story became a symbol of selflessness and hope. It inspired a movement, a scholarship, and a job built on empathy. But more than that, it reminded us all that even the smallest choices, made in silence and sincerity, can echo far beyond what we see. Because sometimes, a single seat can lift not just a person, but the whole world.